The devil's greatest trick is convincing us that he is harmless. You know the movies, the cracked porcelain, the hollow stare, the haunted house. Hollywood gave Annabelle a face designed to terrify you, but Hollywood lied. The real Annabelle is a Raggedy Ann doll, soft-stitched eyes, a floppy yarn smile, the kind of doll you'd find in a child's bedroom. And that is precisely what makes the true story so much worse. Donna was a nursing student living with her roommate Angie. For her birthday, her mother gave her an antique Raggedy Ann doll she'd found at a hobby store. It was a simple gift, sentimental, innocent, but almost immediately, things began to change. The doll moved, not dramatically, not the way it happens in films, just subtly. They'd leave for class and come home to find the doll in a different room, positioned differently, arms crossed, legs folded, sitting upright in a chair where no one had placed it. Then came the notes, written in a childlike scrawl on aged parchment paper that neither woman owned. The notes said 2 words, "Help us." Later one would read, "Miss me?" There was no parchment paper in the apartment. There was no explanation, and yet the notes kept appearing. This phase, the subtle movements, the unexplained messages, this is what demonologists call infestation, the very first stage, the entity establishing its presence, testing boundaries, building trust. Donna and Angie were being groomed. Frightened but curious, the girls consulted a medium. Through the seance, a spirit made contact. It identified itself as Annabelle Higgins, a 7-year-old girl who said she had died on the property years before. She claimed she felt safe with Donna and Angie. She just wanted to stay, and Donna, full of compassion, said yes. That single act of permission, that one word, was the fatal mistake, because what they had invited in was never a little girl. Demonologists are unambiguous on this point. Inhuman entities, demonic forces, cannot simply enter a space uninvited. They must be let in. They use deception. They masquerade as something sympathetic, something that appeals to human empathy. A lost child is perhaps the most effective mask an ancient evil could wear. Donna had opened the door, and now something was walking through it. This is oppression, the second stage. The entity no longer just makes itself known. It begins to exert control, to pressure, to destabilize. And it was about to get physical. Lou had never trusted the doll. From the beginning, he urged his friends to get rid of it. He had nightmares involving the doll, vivid, suffocating dreams where it was strangling him in his sleep. Then one night, Lou awoke paralyzed. He described the doll crawling up his body and reaching his chest and wrapping its hands around his throat. He woke screaming, and then it got worse. Across his chest and abdomen, 7 claw marks, deep, raw, burning. No animal had been in the apartment. Lou had been asleep and alone, and within a day, the wounds were completely gone. Flesh does not heal that quickly. The sudden disappearance of physical wounds inflicted by an unseen force is a documented hallmark of demonic attack. The entity was no longer hiding. It was escalating. Donna called a priest. The priest called Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed and Lorraine Warren were, at that point, among the most experienced paranormal investigators in the world. Lorraine, a clairvoyant and light trance medium, approached the doll and immediately felt what she described as a profound wrongness, a cold, ancient malevolence. Ed's assessment was unambiguous. This was not the spirit of a child. There was no Annabelle Higgins. There were no records of a girl dying on that property. The entity had fabricated an identity, a sympathetic mask, for one purpose: to get inside. What was inhabiting the doll was not human. It had never been human. It was demonic. The apartment was exorcised by Father Cook. Prayers were spoken. The space was blessed, and the Warrens took the doll. Ed Warren placed it in the back seat. Lorraine sat in front. They had faced dark things before. They knew what they were carrying. What they could not fully predict was what that thing would do to them on the drive home. They hadn't made it far before the car began to behave strangely. The steering wheel pulled sharply to one side. The engine sputtered. The brakes failed. Once, then again, then again. 3 times, Ed Warren nearly lost control of the vehicle entirely. He reached into the glove box with one hand and grabbed a vial of holy water. He threw it, back seat, directly onto the doll. The car steadied. They made it home. Ed Warren later said that what they experienced during that drive was deliberate. A final act of possession by proxy, the entity entity attempting to use the doll as a conduit to cause a fatal accident to eliminate the threat they posed to it. The holy water, he believed, interrupted the entity's hold long enough to survive the journey. 3 stages, 3 attempts, 1 failed outcome for the entity. The doll was brought inside the Warren home. Ed placed it in a chair in his office. The next morning, it was found across the room. Today, the doll sits inside a locked glass case in what was the Warren Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut. On the case, a handwritten warning reads, "Warning, positively do not open. Scary." A priest blesses the case twice a year. According to the Warrens' accounts, a man who once visited the museum and mocked the doll, tapping on the glass, daring it to do something, was involved in a motorcycle accident on the drive home. He didn't survive. The Warrens never confirmed the case was impenetrable, only that the blessings kept whatever is inside contained. Today, the doll sits inside a locked glass case in what was the Warren Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut. On the case, a handwritten warning reads, "Warning, positively do not open. Scary." A priest blesses the case twice a year. The doll hasn't moved in years. The case remains locked. The blessings continue. But here's the question we leave you with tonight. If cursed objects aren't real, if demons don't exist, if all of this is simply the product of suggestion and mass hysteria, then why does the case stay locked? Why does a priest still come? And why, in the entire history of the Warren Occult Museum, has no one ever dared to open it? Sleep well.